Hello, welcome again to CoffeeNate.com. This week we're going to talk about the origins of coffee, where coffee comes from. We all go to the store, we order our coffee online, and we bring it home and we grind it, brew it, and we just take for granted that coffee is brown beans in a bag, and that's just it. We never really give a second thought to what happened to that product to get it to us and what it is. So, coffee is from an evergreen type bush. There's two basic varieties. One is Robusta and the other is Arabica. Now Robusta beans, they're a lower quality, a lesser quality, but they're easier to grow. They grow in elevations that Arabica won't grow. They grow on the low-lying areas. So a lot of people will prefer to grow that. But the taste, again, it's a quite bitter flavor. So you'll find Robusta beans in most commercial blends. Most commercial blends are made of Robusta, while specialty coffees and better tasting coffees are made from Arabica. Now, most of your pre-ground will be the Robusta, but you'll see on some cans, I will say that it is 100% Arabica. Those are lower quality Arabica beans that they're using. Beans are graded depending on their size and their flavor and all sorts of things, but just to say that it's Arabica and it doesn't matter because we use Arabica beans, it's the same. That is not the case at all. Anyway, so the beans are grown on these bushes and they're actually cherries. They're called cherries, they're berries. The thing that we actually refer to as coffee beans are actually seeds from these coffee berries, and the seeds are taken out of the fruit and dried, and then that's what gives us a green coffee bean. The actual seeds that are inside of the cherry produce two coffee beans. Now there's a legend that says that around 850 AD there was a goat herder named Khalid in Ethiopia, and he was watching his goats, and he'd always get tired through the day, and he was always wondering why his goats would all of a sudden become energetic and start jumping around like a bunch of freaks, and whenever they ate this particular fruit. So he brought some of these coffee berries home and boiled them and ate them, and that is the first use of coffee. So I wanted to touch on where coffee comes from, because next week we're going to get into roasting. Okay, I ordered some green coffee beans, two different kinds, from Cafe Cappuccino, and you'll see a link to their site as well down there, and you can order some green beans and do it along with me next week. That'd be a pretty cool idea. We're going to try a few different methods over the next few weeks. I think we're going to start with the popcorn popper method, and that actually does a really good job of roasting coffee. It makes quite a bit of mess, so we're going to try and do it outside instead of making a mess inside, even though my house is already a mess. But that's how we'll do it. So that'd be really cool if we could all do it together and share our experience and see how things went for you. I received a couple more questions this week, and Derek has a couple of questions. First, he wants to know if there's a preferred milk to use for espresso-based drinks, for cappuccinos and lattes and whatnot. But really, Derek, it comes down to personal preference. You know, some people claim that, you know, heavy cream is the best, and other people prefer to use soy milk. And, you know, there's no right or wrong here. It comes down to what you like personally. And you have to, you know, just kind of explore and try different things out and see what it is that you like. And Derek also wants to know, he's curious if the type of coffee mug has an effect also on the taste, and whether you use earthenware or china. And you know, it's kind of funny that you say that, because there are only a few coffee mugs that I'll drink out of in the house. There's my favorites, and I'll wash one of those. You know, I have like 40 coffee mugs here, but I'll only drink out of like 3 or 4 of them. And if one of those few aren't clean, then I'll wash it rather than use one of the ones that are in the cupboard. I don't think it really affects the flavor, but it's just kind of a quirky thing about me, and I think a few other people have that thing going on with the mug. All right, and I also got a question from somebody that just identifies himself as Young LA. And he watched last week's episode, and he's a little distraught over the fact that he can't afford a good conical bird grinder, and he's a starving college student that wants to drink good coffee and craves good coffee, but he just can't afford a good conical bird grinder. And he did mention that he uses a French press. So Young LA, that's the good conical bird grinder. That's most important if you're making espresso, because espresso is very temperamental and there are so many things that you can do wrong to mess it up. Now, if you're just using a French press, now I say just a French press, but a French press is excellent coffee. Okay, but if you're using a French press, you need to use a coarser grind, so it's not going to matter so much as long as you're getting relatively even grounds, which can be done with any type of a bird grinder can do that for you for the more coarse grinds. Now for finer grinds, yeah, you will need a conical bird grinder to produce the consistent fine grind. But don't worry about it. Since you have a French press, you'll be able to be just fine with a regular bird grinder. And you're also wondering about storing ground coffee. What's the best way? There is no best way. Unfortunately, even if you store it under optimal conditions in a vacuum sealed type of container, it won't be good for a day. So don't even try to store your ground coffee. Only grind as much as you need for the pot that you're making at that moment. So just grind on demand, okay? And you can get a decent bird grinder that can handle the coarse settings for $50 to $60. So, and I will recommend a couple for you as well in my post. Okay. Again, follow me on Twitter, CoffeeNate. You can also send in your questions by clicking the Ask CoffeeNate below this video, and you can email me through there. Keep your questions coming in. I'm starting a contest, okay? Every month, everybody that sends in a question and has it answered on the air will be entered into a draw, and you will win a package of fair trade organic coffee. And you can see what I'm talking about, and maybe you think I'm full of crap, and you can say so after you try it out and relay your experiences with it. You can send in your questions either by clicking the Ask CoffeeNate below this video, or Ask CoffeeNate at the top of the screen up there. And you can also ask your question by Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. My name on Twitter is CoffeeNate. Not too hard to remember. So find me there, follow me, and you'll be notified of new episodes and updates and sales. Also, sign up for the newsletter for updates as well. You will be notified of any new contests that come out. So keep those questions and comments rolling in, and we'll see you next week at CoffeeNate.com, where there's always something brewing.